Welcome to my final From Season 1 episode review video, as this is the season finale of From Season 1. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you are caught up to the point where I am, every watch you're watching from, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which, of course, I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. Now, I've already seen every episode thus far from. I'm actually reviewing every single episode to be ready in time for Season 3 of From. So these review videos are going to come faster than my normal videos, at least every other day until I'm ready for new reviews of the show. And I like this show a lot. It's not amazing, but it's not a bad show. It's entertaining. I feel that the end of From will be like a bad M. Night Shyamalan ending, but who knows? I don't know anything. I'm just speculating that it's going to be something like that. But anyway, I like this show, and I wanted to cover it on the channel. So with all that said, this will be From Season 1, Episode 10, the Season 1 finale. The title of this episode is called All the Places We'll Go. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. And this is going to be a detailed review, so it's going to be long. Julie wakes up in the morning and sees Ethan playing with his toys. And Julie asks if he wants her to tell him a story. But he says he can tell his own now. And begins to tell a story about the toys trying to return home. However, they hear knocking downstairs and go downstairs to investigate. They find Jade, who declares that he has figured out their electricity problem. He demonstrates how they can harness electricity through the lamps, which produce electricity despite having no power source, thus solving their problem of how to power the radio tower. Sarah plays with a worm while Boyd gazes longingly at his boat key. Sarah asks him if the animals know about the horrible things that they are surrounded by, and then Sarah asks what he thinks dragged the tent and where he thinks they are, and Boyd does not have answers but wants to find out. He exits the tent and finds that they have been surrounded by massive spider webs. Jade and Jim demonstrate how they have figured out how to power the radio tower and ask everyone to gather conducting wire. As he leaves, Julie scolds Jade for calling her father Teacup, and Jade promises to stop calling him Teacup but vows to begin calling her Sparkplug before leaving. Kenny finds Donna examining the map of where they all came from. Donna looks at how they came from different places and roads, but they all ended up in the town. She asks if he really thinks the radio will make a difference, and Kenny optimistically answers that the radio waves travel in ways that people can't. Donna leaves to get to work on the tower, and Kenny thanks her. Kenny grabs the globe lamp on his desk and finds Christy stripping the ambulance of wire. She asks about the lamp, and he explains that it was his desk lamp in college. And although it didn't work, it's nice to have something from home. He adds that the globe actually opens up, and he uses it as a secret hiding spot from his kleptomaniac roommate. Christy asks what he keeps in it now, and he says that he often thinks about which countries he'd like to visit should he escape, and wrote them down. Christy goes through the list and reveals that she hardly traveled beyond Grand Rapids. Kenny asks if she wants to travel with him if they escape, and Christy tells Kenny that she likes him a lot, but reminds him that she was engaged prior to her arrival, and Kenny apologizes and leaves Christy with the wire. Tom leads Tabitha to a tool shed where she looks for something to break into the rock under the basement floor. As he leaves, she asks him why he isn't working on the radio tower and if he thinks it will not work. Tom explains that he has seen many people with clever ideas about how to escape, and they all end up at his bar. Tabitha then digs through the shed and finds a pickaxe. As people work on connecting wires to the lamps in the colony house, Ellis finds Fatima and asks to speak with her privately, saying it's urgent. Ellis leads her to the spot where he first saw her, driving around lost for hours. Ellis explains that he has been thinking a lot about what she said about going home. He says that he does not remember who he was before her and does not want to find out who he will be without her. And then Ellis gets down on one knee, calling her the love of his life. Wow. And his home proposes to her. Fatima agrees, and Ellis gives her a makeshift wire ring, which the two laugh over. Fatima tells him that Boyd will be very happy and kisses Ellis. Boyd and Sarah wander through the web-covered forest in the direction of the light from the previous night. Sarah asks if he thinks it's a good idea, but Boyd brushes her off, and Sarah continues to question him, and Boyd says that their tent got dragged through the forest, so he can't go back, but the light from the previous night was powerful, and maybe help lies in that direction. Sarah is, of course, more cautious and says the voice that spoke to her was different and asks who Mr. Fish and Loaves is. And Boyd answers it was his nickname in the army, and only the only people in the town who knew it were his wife and Ellis. Of course, his wife is deceased, and Boyd finds the idea that his deceased wife sent Sarah a message preposterous, and Sarah counters that she was brought along to help, and the voice told her that they should go back. Boyd then hears a woman's voice calling for help, which Sarah cannot hear. Boyd continues deeper into the forest and finds Abby, his wife, trapped in a web, but the apparition grabs him and begins screaming, and Boyd then gets covered by several spiders, several of which bite him before Sarah helps remove them, and Sarah asks what he saw, but Boyd does not answer. Jim and Ethan watch as finishing touches are made upon the radio tower. Jim asks Julie if she's okay, and she answers that she is and heads inside to help. Jim tells her daughter that he is there for her. Ethan wishes Victor was with him, believing that he would enjoy this. Jim assures his son that Victor is, of course, okay, and Ethan says he knows and that Victor has to do his part of the quest now, while the radio is their part. Boyd continues to press on, but Sarah urges him to rest and talk to her. Boyd begins to panic about not being able to find their way out. Boyd begins to deteriorate, believing that there is no way out, and the place is feeding on their pain and collapses. Sarah urges him to continue, reminding him that Ellis is waiting for him and offering to help Boyd. Sarah helps him back onto his feet, and then they notice an approaching storm. The radio tower is hoisted onto the roof. Jade begins to leave, and Jim asks why. Jade first says that he is going to bring the rest of the wire, but then Jim says it has already been brought, and he says he's going to get the last rolling paper to get high and rides off. Jade goes to the Lu's house, where he finds Yin Chen kneeling in front of the memorial shrine to Bing Wan, Kenny's father. He tells her that they might be going home and asks why she is not more excited. Jade tells her that he grew up with his grandmother in France, but she died when he was 12 years old and had to return to the States to live with his uncle because there was no one in France to take him in. Jade says that he did not want to leave his grandmother alone, even though she was dead. As he was crying at the airport, a nice woman brought him a soda after he explained the situation, and she told Jade that they come with you when you go. Jade tells her not to feel sad or guilty because her husband, her ex-husband, of course, now will be with her when she goes. Yin Chen is touched and asks Jade to pray with her, which he does. Jim explains how the radio tower works to Ethan, who is fascinated. Donna informs him that they are ready, and Jade and Tian Chen arrive with snacks, apples and stuff. Christy finds Kenny in the kitchen and returns the globe lamp. Kenny apologizes if he made things weird, but Christy stops him. She admits that she does not know what to do and is freaked out. And it freaks her out because part of her wants to return to her fiancé and pick up where they left off, but the other part of her wants to go to Iceland with Kenny. Kenny asks her what she is going to do, and she answers that she doesn't know and holds his hand. There's chemistry there, even though she has a wife, or fiancé wife. Tabitha arrives as they are preparing to erect the radio tower onto the roof. After they get it standing, Jim turns it on and informs that they have a signal and hugs his family in joy. Tabitha then returns to digging in her basement, which she calls their plan B. However, their joy is cut short when Clara points out the approaching storm clouds. Sarah tells Boyd that they need to find shelter. Boyd wants to continue but is physically unable to. Sarah urges him to keep moving, and they hear the horn again. Taking his bag, Sarah tells him that they are heading right in the direction in the right direction and almost there as rain begins to pour. They struggle to the top of the hill and find the source of light and the noise that is a large lighthouse. Jim and Ethan operate the radio, and Jim tries to broadcast a mayday as the storm draws closer. Donna warns that they have 10 minutes before the wind blows the tower off the roof. Jim sends Ethan inside, and Donna takes his place, changing the frequency. Jim is able to get a response, and the voice on the other end addresses him by name, shocking him. The voice tells him that his wife should not be digging the hole, and Jim runs off. Donna goes inside, and Julie asks why he is leaving. Before she can answer, the light bulbs and the lamps powering the radio tower explode, sending shards of glass everywhere. In the basement, Tabitha hacks at the rock beneath the basement with the pickaxe, but the floor collapses and she lands in a cave where she is found by Victor. Victor says that the boy in white said she would come and that he was supposed to wait for her. As tremors shake the house above her, Victor says that it isn't safe for the tunnels where the creatures are asleep, and shows her the cave paintings that they make before dragging her off. Jim arrives at home and finds the main floor has partially caved in. Boyd collapses from the pain and tells Sarah to leave him, saying one of them has to make it back. Sarah refuses to abandon Boyd. The boy in white appears and tells her that Nathan was right and this place, and that it is angry now. He tells them to get to safety and directs her to a fairway tree. Boyd gets in first and is transported to the bottom of a dry well. And then we go to the diner, and the tabletop jukeboxes mysteriously turn on and begin a Neil Young song as a bus arrives, ending the episode and the season. So it was pretty good. Obviously, more questions than answers with this show. I'm going to give the episode an 8.8 out of 10. I really like the tension with the whole radio tower thing. I thought that was pretty good. And then my character of the episode, a lot of characters had standout moments in this episode. I think I'm finally going to give the character of the episode to Jim. I don't think I gave it to him before, but maybe I did. I don't recall. And then, of course, Tabitha for the females was, of course, the focal point, as that family is essentially the main characters. But Jade, of course, is awesome. Boyd is awesome. And, so those are my thoughts on the finale of Season 1. Remember, I'll be doing episode reviews of the new season, Season 3, when they air. I don't know what time. I'm not sure what time the episodes will be available, but I'll do it the next day at the latest. Probably early, like around midnight the next day, worst case scenario. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of From and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please don't forget to Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of From. What would you rate the episode in? Whom would you choose as characters of the episode? And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.